So Dumb and Dumber decided to sit down with CNN and started spewing a bunch of baloney and honestly some of the most hateful rhetoric I've seen from them on how Republicans believe women are inferior to men and don't deserve equal rights. My guess is that was a sloppy abortion argument, but no, we don't think they are inferior to anyone. Everyone is made under the same image of God, but that doesn't mean we don't recognize the biological and biblical differences between one another, and let's point out why they vote incorrectly out of emotion every single time. Men are supposed to be the spiritual leaders of the household, and that spirituality 100% leads to correct politics. And when you leave them single and alone, you're left with the Democratic Party, a party that uses kindness to dictate what we think and say. Then she goes on to say we believe LGBT are subhuman, which I haven't heard anyone say. That we recognize being and acting on gays a sin, maybe, but everyone sins, so it doesn't make them a worse human being. But to guide them in the wrong direction is a shame on our part and destructive to them in the long run. Then she talks about how we spew white supremacist rhetoric. If by pointing out black Americans are the ones that commit the majority of crime and are a danger to society, being 11 times more likely to kill me, sure, call it what you want, but don't sit there and act like there are no problems. But she thinks this is all a psyop so Republicans can get tax cuts, no medical care, and low wages to make them richer. We've always said AOC is the only bartender that brings nothing to the table, because that's ridiculous.
They have been successful because they have also been very clear, especially digitally, about what they believe. That women are inferior, they do not deserve equal rights. That they believe that LGBTQ Americans are subhuman. That they believe and are circulating disgusting racial and white supremacist messaging that they are able to get away with digitally and online. And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide us. And why to divide us? So that the same people who own those platforms, people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, that these people can continue to get away with highway robbery in tax cuts and in order to fleece all of our pockets, cut our health care, keep our wages low so that we remain fighting amongst ourselves while they make themselves richer. And so in order for us to fight back against that, we must be clear about what we believe, have strong beliefs, and also be completely unwilling to bow to that kind of division and stand in solidarity with one another, especially when it is someone whose culture is different from ours or whose background we may not entirely understand, but that we honor, love, and see as our fellow Americans.
But do you give him credit? Do you give him credit, though, for getting to this point where it did get those 20 hostages back home with their families?
In this particular development, yes, but we also know that President Trump was an obstacle to peace previously as well.